So here's the deal. In every one of my other classes, I have them start the day with their daily quiz. Daily quiz, daily check, whatever. It's your formative in-class assessment that says, hey, remember the stuff we did last time? Do it. It's like one or two middle-of-the-road problems. You score it yourself. I show you how to score it. It's not a big deal. It's just something that you're doing in class by yourself, not with us helping you, not with your neighbor helping you. It's like homework doesn't tell me what you know. That's why I don't ever, even in all the way up into pre-calc, I don't grade homework. It's completion only. It's just, did you do some extra practice? Homework doesn't tell me what you know. It tells me what you know, your friends know, your sister knows, your mom knows, Slater knows, and Google knows. Like, there's no point in grading it. However, a daily quiz at the beginning of class after we did a lesson, right here in front of me, you're going to just do one or two problems that say, I know how to do the thing we did. Okay? But before that, I always want to take the temperature of the room, so open it up to that assignment that you did in class. Majority of you look to have finished that with time to spare. And on page 7, question mark? Yeah, on page 7, come on. I hate you, Frank. Fine. It's going to poke the button. There we go. Start with this. I want you to look at your stuff. Before we go doing any kind of, hey, I want you to do it on your own 100% independently, tell me you know what we're doing, I want you to check to see, did you do it right? If there's anything that you have questions, I will stop whatever I was planning to do and go through the entire assignment one by one together and then give you more practice in class before ever doing a daily quiz. Okay? Note on number 12, you could have picked something besides 2. That one you could have just chose whatever you felt like. You could have put a variable there. You could have put x and then had x times 8, x times 1. I don't care. All right? But the rest of them, we all good? Has anyone got questions on them? Hey. Okay, so we're always going to go through stuff before I have you do it on your own. Also, looking at the stuff that you did last time is going to help kind of jog your memory. Put you back in math mode before you have to do math that matters, like for an actual score. So, no questions about it? Okay. Then, boop. I don't care. It was highlighting the thing and it wasn't stopping. It was driving me nuts. Okay. Flip it over through 22. Remember, it wasn't enough to just do the math and say, okay, yes, that's true. This is a true statement. I can do order of operations. You were supposed to say what the property was. Check through yours. If you have anything wrong, mark it. Mark it, check it, put a star next to it, something, and ask the question. Y'all, I want you to ask questions. I want you to ask questions. I want you to ask questions. So please, if there's anything up there that you're like, well, why is it commutative of addition? I thought it was multiplication because blah, 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 blah. Then we talk about it. So, okay. Okay, whenever we see two things in parentheses and something smashed up against it, our gut instinct is going to be distributive. But distributive has a number times a sum or difference. 20, they didn't add or subtract the things in the parentheses. So it's not distribution. Okay, so it's not distribution, but they got parentheses in there. All right, so now I'm looking at associative. Did I change the grouping? 6, 10, 2, 6, 10, 2. Oh, wait, 6, 10, 2, 6, 10, 2. The order is the same, but they changed where the parentheses were. That is associative. Okay? Like, that's why we practice, is because some of these properties look an awful lot alike. Today, we're going to get properties about exponents. A lot of what we're going to talk about today might even be new stuff for you. I'm not sure where your experience level is coming into the room. So, like, that's why we started with this idea of I'm looking at properties. I'm going back and looking at that page, looking at that example to inform my decision. Okay, anything else through 22? 19? Okay, you say, I added things together and it didn't change. Okay. Hey, 9, what's your value? 9? Hey, Sean, what's your name? Stupid question. I just said it, right? Since nothing changed, it's an identity. It's just what kind of identity is it? Okay. And down below, I told all of you that it's a really good idea to do the stuff you don't want to do in class right away because you got someone to help. You got backup. You can ask questions. So, 23, it's got a bunch of words. And then Satan said, let there be words with math. But you start reading through it. On Monday, she does this. On Wednesday, she does this. On Friday, she does this. How much does she earn? If any problem is going to make sense to teenagers, it's, I do some stuff, how much money do I have? Because everything rolls around money. Okay? By the way, the labor market is finally slowly adjusting, even here in Spearfish. Even as a teenager, starting out, don't you dare work for anywhere in this town under $14 an hour. Don't. Because you can start at 14 an hour at even fast food joints in town now. Okay? Respect your own time. And your employer should too. Okay? Now a freshman, fresh out of their gate, their first job, they're going to screw up everything. All they're doing is cleaning the toilets at McDonald's. All right, maybe you can go to 12. But I'm saying that would be a reasonable starting position for someone's very, very first job. If y'all are sophomores or older, got a couple juniors in here. One of my classes, I think I got, senior. I think I had 2 seniors in algebra this year. If that's the case, value your time. Make them pay you what you're worth. Okay? Now, that said, sound like Goofy. Y'all ever seen the Goofy movie? The animated Goofy movie. That is 90s as you can get. Holy crap. Yeah, with his son, Max, yeah. That's as 90s as you can get. It's even got Michael Jackson doing voiceovers. So we got 2 lawns, 3 hours gardening, 2 hours babysitting, 1 lawn, 2 hours gardening, whatever. So what they're saying is I've got so much of this, so much of this, so much of this, and then you plug in what you know, solve for what you don't. Okay? Down at the bottom, vocabulary check. I hope you like this section because it's going to be like that every time. The vocabulary section is literally go back. No, too far. Go back to the very first page and look at the vocabulary. That's it. The very first page will have vocabulary on it. So that part of the assignment that says vocabulary check is monkey see, monkey do. Do you know what the word means? Okay. And then down at the bottom, they're usually going to have one that says, all right, I want you to think a little bit. You clean your room, you clean the kitchen. Does the order that you do them in matter? You got to do both. Does the order you do them in matter? And I had a couple of kids have pretty good conversation with this, and I'm always going to forget which class it is, whether it's yours or the Maroon Day kids. But the conversation was, well, what if cleaning my room means I find 15 more dishes? That was in here? Okay. I find 15 more dishes, so now when I bring them to the kitchen, I have to do more dishes. Did the order matter now? Yeah. But if you're just straight up talking, I have to do this and I have to do this, it doesn't matter which I do first, they're both going to get done. Whichever you say, as long as you have a little bit of explanation. Y'all, I'm going to give you a cheat code here to your classes. All classes, not mine. All of them. Teachers will gobble that crap up. We love it when you put extra explanation next to a thing. In math, you know how many times I've had a problem and right next to it a kid writes in the margin, I know that it shouldn't be this because that can't be negative, but it looks like this other problem that we did in class, so I'm going to do that instead. I'm giving a kid more credit when I see that because that shows that they're engaging in recall, they're thinking critically. You do that in a science class, you do that in a history class, especially history class, any of the social studies classes, English, where you have to do extra thinking. If you display extra thinking, teachers are going to give you a little bit extra, okay? Because it shows that you're not just copy pasta your answers, okay? So, with that out of the way, next up is, on the front of your packet, the very first thing that you should have written was 1, number properties. Those 3 boxes next to it, you are not going to fill in. You will never touch those. No, bad. Squirt bottle. But when you finish this entire packet, the whole thing, all done, there's no due dates. If you need an extra day or two to get stuff done, life happened, I get it. When you finish the whole thing, you're going to put it on my counter. I'm going to go through all of it, and I'm going to go through the notes that we did in class. And I'm going to say, did you do all the examples? Were you following along? Did you do the independent practice? Did you write stuff? I'm going to say, well, you missed this one part over here. You got 9 out of 10. The assignment, the part that you did in class again. How many of you just didn't do the last 2 or 3 things because it involved words? You didn't even bother looking at them. Okay, now I'm going to give you a 3 out of 5 because you didn't even do it. You didn't do those parts. This is completion only. And then comes the daily quiz or daily check that we're about to do. I'm going to look for that in the back of your packet. You see that graph paper? I'm going to look back there and I'm going to record whatever score you had next to your daily quiz for today. And I'm going to do that, 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 and you won't see any of those numbers anywhere on campus. Instead, at the end of that unit, all you're going to see is Unit 1A daily work. 1 score, 1 thing, that's it. That's all that's going to be in campus. I don't want to spend my time shuffling papers around. I don't want to spend my time grading through stuff that might not even be your work. Okay, I want to spend my time working with students, helping kids learn stuff. You come down here during Spartan time, the first thing you're going to notice is entirely too many freshmen. Second thing you'll notice, there's a bunch of nerds in this corner and they're obnoxious. But the third thing is, I've got like 2 or 3 kids just piled up around my desk here and we're working. I want to work with kids. I don't want to shuffle papers around. I don't want to be putting, you all know that teacher that does things like it's still 1982 and you look in campus and it's this list of like 40, 50 things. When you get that many things in campus, doesn't it all just kind of blur together and you're like, I don't know. The front page of this packet is what matters. Okay? When someone calls you out on social media and they got receipts, they got that screenshot, that's what this is. This is what you, after I give it back to you, you take a picture of it, do whatever you want with the packet. Because now there is proof. I did all this stuff was graded, here's the proof. There's just going to be one thing in campus. Okay? Now, speaking of that daily quiz, daily check. When we are working on stuff in class, I want you working with your neighbors. I want you talking to your neighbors. Right now, this is your time. Do you know what we did last time? So, at the back of that packet, where you see all that graph paper, you find a spot on them. Whether you want to start from the very back and work your way in manga style, or there's like 6 pages of it, you just want to start at the first page. You're going to say 1, 1, number properties, and next to it, you're just going to do a couple of quick problems. Don't blurt anything out. Don't be looking at your neighbor's stuff. Don't be talking to their stuff. Don't be talking to them about it. But it is open notes, open everything. Like everything you do in my room, you have every resource available to you. You're just going to answer a couple of quick questions for me. State the property. I'd like you to have those 4 problems and tell me, A, B, C, D, what's the property? What property does that thing show? And for those of us who have trouble with visual tracking, I could talk to you all about visual tracking and color overlays and all the different ways that our brain thinks. Does that make it easier to see which one's which? Something as simple as a colored line in between them? So, you do 1-1 daily quiz, A, B, C, D, write what the properties are. You don't even have to copy down the problems if you don't want. But you have to tell me what is the property that thing shows. Okay?
C and D pretty much the same as I formed?
There's something different about them.
All numbers too.
Okay. Yep, you see it. Now tell me, I did that intentionally. They look very, very similar, but they are different properties. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? All right. That's going, right? Yeah, that's back. All right. What do we think? Round one. Who be it? There you go. And you don't have to be, again, don't change anything. You are not doing yourself any favors if you change your answers. Okay? This is gut check time. This is, do I know what I'm doing? If we're going to be getting a 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, that means we need to ask questions. This is gut check. Okay? Don't lie to yourself. What says 5 times this stuff is 5 times each of the stuff? That is distributive. Okay? Now C and D look an awful lot alike. They got the same numbers. They even have parentheses on both of them. Okay, you have to look at, did the order change or did the grouping change? In the first one, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 7. The order did not change. So what did change? The grouping. So grouping change is the associative property. What changed? The association around what operation? Of multiplication. Okay? D. I look at it and say 8, 9, 7. 8, 7, 9. So that is commutative. Because what changed? Order. Order changed. Order does not matter is commutative property. And now I want you to be really careful. I could have been mean on this one and put an extra curveball in there. This is commutative of multiplication right now. Check this out. If I had done this, it's still the 9 and 7 that swapped. So it is still commutative, but they swapped around what kind of operation? But I didn't show 8 times 9 plus 8 times 7. That's a 9. I didn't show this. If I went from here to here, that's distribution. But if I go from here to here, I never distributed the 8. I swapped the order of what was in the parentheses. If that says plus, and I don't actually distribute it, that's actually commutative of addition. And that's a big old curveball, okay? I wasn't going to do that to you on the daily quiz, but that is something we got to be aware of. You have to really look at, did they actually distribute it? Or did they change the order? So right next to this, first of all, I need to get rid of that. There we go. Now this one's going to be nice and easy. It's just 1 point each for getting the right answers. And then I'm going to say 1 for, you actually did them. You just tried. Okay? So next to this, you are going to have something out of 5. You're going to box it in, you're going to circle it, you're going to do it in a different color pen, whatever it is. But you are going to have 1 number properties, you're going to have your daily check, and then you're going to have your score next to it. Because when I go through them, I'm just going to look for 1, 1, you got a 4. 1, 1, you got a 5. And I'm going to write that on the front page, but I'm going to double check real quick to make sure that you ain't BSing me. Okay?
Oh, so I should say 5 out of 5 then?
We've had that discussion before.
I don't remember that.
Okay, what happens is, say it's beginning of October, or maybe later, we just have an arranged meeting, but we're sitting down, we're talking to your folks. And they say, well, how come they got 100 on all their quizzes? And they're getting like 62 on all their tests. What's up with that? They score the quizzes themselves. What does that tell your parents? Okay, it is not worth it to BS yourself and other people because it ain't gonna matter. That quiz every 6th day, that's what matters. Okay, and you can't BS that thing. All right, womp, womp, womp. So with that out of the way, folks, I would like you to go to section 1, 2. Close current tab. Yo.
Those hot price like $1 a piece.
Dollar a piece, throw $1 in the jar, get num num. You potty trained? Why are you asking me? Just go. Okay. Yo, remember, day 1 I said, if you're hungry, eat something. If you're thirsty, drink something, preferably non-alcoholic. If you got to use a bathroom, go. The only thing I would say is show a little bit of self-restraint. Not a bad idea to just leave your phone here so you're not sitting on the can watching Netflix or TikTok. Okay? Like, that's it. Just go. If you got to go, go. All right, flip it over. 1, 2. Now we're going to talk about exponents. Okay, this stuff, I know you've seen an exponent before. You probably haven't worked with the properties of them very much. I bet your experience with exponents kind of ends at, I know how to write it out longhand. Okay? Normally, I would start a class like this with solving basic equations, like one variable equations, inequality, that kind of stuff. You know, review what you did last year. But we're going to see exponents randomly crop up in what we're doing so many times, and it's better to just get it out of the way at the beginning. Okay? If I say 3 to the 5th is, what's that, 243? Yeah. These each have a vocabulary term. If you don't like that they wrote it in just a big paragraph up here, and you'd rather see it next to the thing that it is for a label, might not be a bad idea to right next to this write 3 to the 5th equals 243, and next to this I would like you to write 3 is the base. We all about that base. I hate Megan Trainor.
Why do you just say it?
Because Goblin number 1 was obsessed with certain music videos when he was younger, and we had to watch them incessantly. The only way we could get my first son to calm down when he was really worked up, Beyonce, Put a Ring on It, Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, Megan Trainor, Future Husband, Katy Perry, Roar. I had to listen to those things on repeat, and I wanted to stab myself in the eyeball. Over and over and over and over and over. If 3 is the base, and we all about it, that 5 is called an exponent. This is the part where we're actually doing math now. We're talking about things. So we probably shouldn't be looking at our phones and discussing whatever we see on them. Instead, we should be focusing on what the crap am I supposed to be learning? Yeah. When you evaluate an exponent is repeated multiplication. I don't want to write 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. There's 5 of them, so I'm just going to say screw it, 3 to the 5th. It's shorthand. Okay? When you evaluate it, when you actually find what 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 is, that's called the power of the exponent. Okay? 243 would be considered the 5th power of 3. All right? We need to know that vocabulary because we're about to get a bunch of properties. The properties are all listed down here. Zero property of exponents, product of powers, power of products, power of powers. And you say, but they kept using the same words. How do I know the difference between them? Maybe off to the side, we're going to have to review a little bit. Right next to vocabulary, we just said power. It's an expression where you have a base and an exponent. I evaluate it, it makes a number. Next to that, do you remember what a product is? Multiplication. A product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So when I say what is the product of 5 and 8, you say 40. Okay? So if I say 5 times 8 equals 40, 40 is considered a product. These two taken together are considered a product. So when they say the product of powers or the power of products, they're saying a power of products. I'm going to multiply crap together and throw it in an exponent. When they say a product of powers, I'm going to multiply together 2 exponents. Okay? And that can make us go kind of cross-eyed. So when we write out our properties, I'm going to have you write in that blank space off to the side. We're going to use that space an awful lot. We're going to put it in a little bit shorthand for us. Or better yet, note cards. Because you're going to be using this a lot. Okay? On here, I would like you to write as a list numbers 1 through 7. Okay? So like going down the line on your note card, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the reason I want this on a note card is because y'all know how annoying it is to keep flopping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between pages. Okay? If you just have it on a note card, then you can have it in front of you and you're good. Okay? So instead of in that blank space, on this note card, I want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we are going to write out the 7 properties of exponents. Okay? So I'm going to have to keep coming back over here and looking at it because they're split into 2 sections. Okay, the 0 property, the easiest one of the easy. The 0 property says I can have anything to the 0 property, and it equals 1. It can be as butt ugly as I want. I can say x to the 0 is 1. 9 to the 0 is 1. You don't have to write this part if you don't want to. 9 to the 0 is 1. Negative 13 pi over e is, if I take it to the 0, 1. I could have an entire expression. I could put the quadratic formula in there. I could say the square, negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a to the 0. It's still 1. This is everyone's favorite property because the answer is just 1. You could have this big of algebra in one spot. But as soon as you throw parentheses on there and a 0, what is the value of this? 1. Okay? This is like the I am Groot of math. What's the answer? I am Groot. It's always 1 if you take anything to the 0 power. Okay? Kids usually like that property. What's the next one? Power of, or product of powers? Okay. The product of powers. Product of powers says if I take 3 to the 4th times 3 to the 2nd, if I were to write those out longhand, this means 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 times 3 by 3. Well, how many are there now? If I go 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, 3 by 3. Grand total, don't I just have 4 plus 2? So that's my property. It's 3 to the 4 plus 2. Whenever I multiply together exponents, if they got the same base, I'm just going to add the exponents instead of writing them out longhand. I don't want to write them longhand. That takes more time. Teenagers are notoriously obsessed with how much do I have to write. Like you're all afraid of getting carpal tunnel at the age of 16. By the way, don't get carpal tunnel. It sucks. Like I got the big zipper scar right there from having my surgery. Okay. You think carpal tunnel, isn't that like the lame injury you get from sitting at an office all day? Like, no, mine was from working out in my yard and just doing too much squeezing actions, like from banging stuff on hammers and making, like, for me, it was holding a double-handed drill. And I was drilling through railroad ties. And I did that for an entire summer, and it aggravated it to the point that I would wake up and my hand would be stuck like in a claw, and I couldn't move it. So I'd try to hit the alarm clock, and it would just knock it off the shelf. And I'd have dreams where there was like a dog with poisonous dripping fangs latched onto my arm because of how much it hurt in my sleep, or that my arm was on fire, things like that. It just hurts like hell. Y'all ain't gonna get that. Not as teenagers.
I'm already having that problem.
Is it, well, if you're just having nightmares, that's different.
No, when my hand's cramping up.
Oh, yep. You'll see kids who work on farm, work on the ranch, work in garage and auto shop, something like that. You start getting the tingly fingers. If you have your hand anywhere above parallel, your fingertips start to feel funny, almost like your hand's falling asleep. If you got that already as a teenager, guess what? You're going to have surgery eventually. Yes? Or are you just playing with your hand now? Okay. I didn't know if that was a question. So instead of writing this out longhand, you will not get carpal tunnel from writing it out longhand. I can just add the exponents together. It's easier. Okay? Below that, if we have the product of powers, the next one is what? Power of product? Yep. Power of product. So if I have 3 to the 4th, and I take that to the 2nd power. 3 to the 4th says 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. What does it mean if I take that to the 2nd? Like if I was writing it out longhand. What does it mean when I say anything to the 2nd? What if I just have 5 to the 2nd? What does that mean? 5 by 5. So if I say 3 to the 4th squared to the 2nd,
3 times 4.
means 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. 2 of them. So if I write that out longhand, okay, now you're starting to write a lot of stuff. Now this says 3 by 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 3. It says 2 of them. Well, now how many of them are there? How many 3s do I have? 8. What could I have done instead of writing it out longhand?
4 times 2.
4 times 2 is 3 to the 8th. Okay? I can say this is 3 to the 4 times 2 is 3 to the 8th. And I suppose while I'm at it, I should have said 3 to the 6th up here. I just kind of got carried away talking about carpal tunnel. ADHD, go wee! Legit, that's going to happen in here. Okay, power products, okay. Okay, and that's... Did I skip one? Oh, that was power of a power. Damn it. Okay. Sorry about that. Power of power. I hope y'all ain't using pen. Never use pen in math, unless it's erasable. Oops. Y'all, one of the best office supply inventions to happen in the last 10 years is those friction pens. You seen those? It's an erasable pen that basically uses heat-activated ink. So when you turn it over and erase it with just a little silicone nubbin on the end of it, it just activates the ink and turns it invisible.
Well, if you light a lighter around it, it'll make it dissipate.
Why, Robert? Okay.
It just goes a lot quicker.
All right. Now we'll do power products. So I'm doing a little out of order, but that's okay. Power of products is where you get to be, you combine these two concepts. It looks an awful lot like distribution. If I say 3 to the second times, I don't know, x to the third, and I take that whole honkin' thing to the third. So if you've got more than one thing in parentheses, a bunch of crap to an exponent, it's mathematical Oprah. You get a 3, and you get a 3, and you get a 3, because you're all in the parentheses, you all get the thing. If you're in this live studio audience, you all get a car. Okay? If I write this out longhand, this is saying you get a 3. So that's 3 squared x to the third by 3 squared x to the third by 3 squared x to the third. I'm going to do it 3 times. So why not just do this thing, do our green stuff here to both of them? It's faster. Even that, if I wrote that out longhand, that now says 3 by 3 by x by x by x by 3 by 3 by x by x by x by 3 by 3 by x by x by x. No one wants to write that out. I didn't even want to write that out. So instead, I'm not going to do all of that. I'm going to say you get a 3. And you get a 3. And because it's an exponent raised to an exponent, I multiply them, just like I did in the one before it. That's why I did them the other order. I knew there was a reason to the madness. That's 3 to the 6th, x to the 9th. I don't want to write that out longhand. Okay, and then the other ones will come maybe Friday, maybe not till Tuesday. We'll see. That's it. We're going to do those 4 today.
What do you mean by maybe Friday, but maybe Tuesday?
I don't know how far we're going to get.
Because if we don't get to it Friday, it would be Wednesday because we don't got school Monday.
That's right. 3-day weekend. All right. Good call, Roberto. Yeah. So those properties on note card do not lose the note card. It's easier to refer back to the note card than it is to keep flipping back to this page. All right. Now, if you have those, put it into practice. Name the property you use for 12 to the 0. Name the property used for 14 to the 0. Y'all, we said this was the easiest one on there, right?
Which one?
The base is raised to an exponent of 0. The base is not 0. Just flip it to the next page, example 1. So I'm going to use the 0 property. Good thing I wrote it down on that card so that I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. 14 to the 0 is, you already said it, 1. That's it. Example 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Not too shabby. Now you think, that is so ridiculously easy. Why are we even going over that? But then, in another 2 months, I'm going to have a random review problem on your quiz, and I'm going to say, okay, all this stuff, we're going to simplify what's inside the parentheses, blah, 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 it's all equal to 0. And I'm going to say, so now what? And someone's going to say, it equals 0. No, it doesn't. Okay? It equals 1. All right, simplify the expression, name the property used. So I got 2 different bases. They both get the same exponent. Use the blank property. So go to your properties, and which of the properties does this look like? Is it power of products, product of powers, power of powers?
Isn't it products of powers?
Oh, I don't know.
What?
Which one has stuff in parentheses all to an exponent? Okay, power of a product. Yes. I heard it over there. I'm waiting for everyone else to catch up. Okay. So this is the power of product property. So below that, we're going to actually show what that means. 3 times 5 squared is the same as you get a car and you get a car. 3 squared and 5 squared. They both get it. They were both in the live studio audience. They both get a car. Okay. What does 3 squared mean?
3 to the, 3 times 3.
3 times itself, right? A 3 and a 3. 5 squared means a 5 and a 5. What is 3 by 3?
9.
What is 5 by 5?
5.
Without using a calculator, think about quarters. What is 9 times 25? What is 9 quarters? Close.
225.
225. Very close. You put it in terms of money and most kids will get it. Okay? Money makes the world go round. Insert capitalist rant here. Okay? Down here.
Power of power.
Okay, now we're picking up what's going on here, right?
And your screen just glitched up.
I swear, every day, just Frank, I mean, the smart board is as old as all of you. Like, okay. So we do have a, remember, what is it called when you have a base with exponent jammed together?
Power of power.
That is a power raised to an exponent, which is called the power of power property. And then we evaluate. So, do you remember what we said we're going to do? When we have an exponent raised to an exponent, look right next to that one on your card. What was the example? Okay, I heard plus. I heard someone else very quietly say times.
Yeah, your times a 4 and a 2.
Look for which one looks just like this on your card. We multiply them together. Okay, that's 2 to the 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And now, instead of hitting 2 times 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 2, I want you all to get familiar with whatever calculator you're going to be using in this class. Do you all know where the exponent button is on your calculator? Okay, it depends. Some of them will look like this, some of the buttons. Others might just say box to the box. Some might be a combination. It'll say X to the box, X to the box. Others might have the caret button. Caret looks like an up arrow. Okay. So you need to find where is that button on your calculator. You have to be able to do this.
Would it be 256?
2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. What are we going to? The eighth? 128, 256 is what I got. Two to the eighth. So each of you should find that button on most calculators on a phone, that basic app. If you just turn it sideways, there's a bunch of other junk on there. You should have your exponent button there. So you're probably going to have to press the 2, then the exponent button, then the 8. Most calculators. Okay. Show me. 2, the exponent button, this guy. There you go. The 2, the exponent button, then the 8. Okay? Because you're literally jamming that in between the 2 and the 8 to say that's where they go. Okay? And yes, it is 256. I just need to make sure that you all know where that button is on your calculator. It's not enough to... Okay, the reason I say that is, y'all, it's going to suck so bad when I say find 2 to the 16th times 3 to the 8th. You really don't want to press that button that many times. Use the exponent button instead. Okay? You picking up how we're doing this? I do some, you do some. Those two, go! Number 1, number 2. Tell me what property that is.
Not a big jug of apple.
And get that like dry mouth from meds. Sometimes just straight water doesn't do it. You need something else with it. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
In the words of the youth, bruh. Well, if you didn't do that, now you have to flip back and forth. Now you're going to have to come back here and say a bunch of junk in parentheses with an exponent outside of it.
Okay.
Which of these properties has a bunch of junk in parentheses with an exponent outside of it?
Power.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
Because this is only one thing.
Yep.
This is multiple things. So you write that, power of product property.
Okay.
But now you got to keep flipping back and forth because you didn't do the thing. I say again, bruh. Okay, what was that first one? Power of, now this one, you notice how it was a power of a product, yes. But wasn't it also a power of powers? It used both properties. It used both of the properties. Okay? I love that gif of the two guys from what is the Emperor's New Groove? Both is good, isn't it? Road to El Dorado. Oh, I suppose it's been like 25 years since that movie came out, right? And that is not in my current Disney Hell repertoire. So, two, boy, if you get that one wrong, I'm disappointed. What is that? Zero property. Okay. Okay, we scroll down a little bit. Whoop. The expression 5t to the fourth times 2t to the second, simplify it. Okay, now they're getting a little wonky on us. First, they say use the commutative and associative properties to group stuff up. Meaning, it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to mate a turtle with a giraffe. Fun to watch, doesn't accomplish anything. It does not make sense for me to take 5 times t. But it does make sense for me to say 5 times 2. Turtle with turtle. It makes sense for me to say t times t. Giraffe with giraffe. Turtle with giraffe, not so much. Okay? Every year there's a kid who doodles like a turtle laugh in their book now. Okay? They're saying the commutative property allows me to switch around the order of things. So use that to put giraffe with giraffe, turtle with turtle, like that. The commutative property says the order I multiply in doesn't matter. So mix up the order so the stuff that's supposed to be together goes together. Unless you're looking up a picture of a turtle humping a giraffe's leg right now, we probably don't need to be looking at that. In which case, if you found a turtle humping a giraffe's leg, I want to see it because that's funny. Okay. Now do the two pieces. What is 5 times 2? Do the pieces. Multiply the powers. The base of each power is the t. Oh, by the way, if you don't like the t there, if you'd rather just straight up change it to an x, go for it. I know some folks, t's look like pluses, s's look like 5s, z's look like 2s. I get it. If you want to change it, change it. Okay, we're going to do what? What do I do here? When I take t to the fourth times t to the second. Same base, exponent times exponent. What do I do with the actual exponents themselves, the 4 and the 2? Go look at your properties. What do I do with 5 to the 4th times 5 to the 2nd? What do I do with the exponents? I add them together. Add the exponents. What property was that called? So, t to the 4th times t to the 2nd is t to the 4 plus 2, which is t to the 6th. So you take the two parts and smash them together. If this part is 10 and this part is t to the 6th, my answer is 10 to t to the 6th. Now, we don't have to write it out longhand like that every time, but when we're very first learning, baby steps, we're going to write out every single part of it. Could I look at that in the future and apply the same concept and say, what is 6x to the 3rd times 5x to the 2nd? Well, turtle with turtle, 6 times 5 is 30. Giraffe with giraffe, I add the exponents. I'm done. Okay, this, it says step by step. This is walking you through how you do it and why you're doing it. In the future, you are not going to write all this crap out. You're going to go straight to answer. Okay? So, if you can use all those properties, then please, pour favor, use those properties. These 4. Simplify the expression, tell me what property it was. You work with your neighbor, you flip back and look at that first page or your note card, assuming you did one. Okay. Either you're flipping back to that first page or you're looking at that note card. Simplify the expression, tell me what property it is. You only got 4 to choose from. It's not rocket surgery.
So how's that 0 in the parentheses? And that one ain't.
But remember what we said. To the 0.
If it's in parentheses.
Uh-huh. So it is still just 1. Even that big ugly mess. Okay. When we do our division of exponents, we'll show you why that property works. Something to the 0 is 1. What the hell is this? Like, right now, it's just mathematic, believe it. We'll show you why. Hey.
So for these ones, I just add these two, right?
Uh-huh. So you'll write in here 5 plus 2.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
And then here 2 to the
7.
and then tell me what is 2 to the 7th. Yeah, just like that. We're doing it right? 5 plus 2. So yes, yes, yes. All right. Got this. Mm-hmm. Yes. And yes. 2 to the 7th. Oh, 2 to the 7th. That's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So then you flip it sideways and use the exponent button. That's why we found it. There you go.
Do you know all the answers already?
I'm very bad at people. I'm very good at math.
Number
Yes.
Number 7. That
Mm-hmm.
I can't, like, I have it here, but
It's almost a trick question.
Is it okay?
to the 0 power.
Oh my god.
Got him.
So this one would be x to the 12th, right then?
Yes, it would. Yes.
For number 7,
Mhm.
isn't it just actually the 0 property again?
It's a 0 property again. It's just a bigger, uglier one.
Yeah.
Okay, folks are figuring it out. That whether I take something nice and small, if I say 15 to the 0, it's 1. If I say to the 0, still 1. Okay? By the way, I'm not just coming up with random stuff. It was from a Tide commercial. All the there's an old commercial where a dude's in an interview and there's a stain on his shirt, and the stain keeps yelling every time he tries to talk. I'm really interested in what your company's. I would love a position with. It would keep doing that. I live in the 90s, so here we are. Okay. Random references. Dad jokes all day. What happens when I take 2 to the 5th times 2 to the 2nd? What do I do with the 5 and the 2? Add them together. Let's say 5 plus 2 is 7. And then if I don't know that off the top of my head, I will grab a calculator and say, like, please tell me you all played the game 2048 at some point. You remember the one where you slide the rectangles together, like 4 smashes into 4 and it makes 16? 16 smashes into 16 and it makes 256? Like, it was a big thing like 5 years ago. So, middle school, okay? It was around the same time as Flappy Bird. Y'all remember Flappy Bird? Okay. So, what do I do with x to the 4th to the 3rd? What happens when I take an exponent to an exponent? You multiply them. 4 times 3. So that's x to the 12th. But then it's not enough to just do the math. You also have to say what it is. This is the power of power. And this is the product of power. Okay? It's just those 4 properties over and over and over. Now, we're going to start doing crazier stuff with them eventually. But for right now, it's just, can you simplify the thing? Hey, Frank, you inbred redneck son. Yes, they're usually bigots.
I gotta leave that.
Okay, those ones, those 6 problems. I do some, you do some. I do some, you do some. If you would please, those 6, go. You don't even have to tell me what property it is now. You just have to simplify the expression. They even give you blanks to write out part of it. I would like you to please do those 6. You can do them with a neighbor. You can talk in a group. You can throw in your earbuds real quick and make everyone else just disappear so that you can focus on the thing. I just want you to do these 6. You can skip around, do the ones that you know right off the bat. Until the nerds. You rang.
So that one would be 2 times 3, right?
Well, look at, here we go. This is like that turtle giraffe problem. So first, let's rearrange and put this turtles together.
Okay.
Giraffes together.
Okay. So that.
Okay. So now, find which property looks like this.
Product of powers.
And what do you do with them?
Exactly what I'm doing.
Add them together. You even pointed to them.
Oh, yep.
Okay.
So say time denominator to be
There you go.
So then
So what is 3 times 4?
times 4 is 12. So 12x to, would it be 12x or just
12 x to the
5th?
ta-da.
Okay.
Okay.
Then that one, what would I do that one? I know it's probably 1. The answer would be right.
Well,
Am I wrong?
yeah. See how there's no parentheses?
Yeah.
That's 12, and the 0 is only touching the b.
Yeah.
So they're saying, remember that these are separate things.
Okay.
The whole thing isn't 1.
So
This is 12 times what is b to the 0.
1.
What is 12 times 1?
12.
There you go.
Okay.
They're making sure you understand that 0 is only touching this one.
Yep. Sounds good, thanks.
Yep. Yo!
Many numbers for birth.
Turtle giraffe.
Okay. Right.
Rearrange it.
Okay.
Put turtle with turtle.
Obviously. Yeah.
Put giraffe with giraffe.
Okay.
So now,
Whoa.
what is 3 times 4?
12. Oh my god, wow.
What do I do with x to the second times x to the third?
Wouldn't that just be x5? Or so would it?
Yep, I add them together. So you say 2 plus 3
Oh my god.
is x to the 5th.
Oh my. That's so clever.
Ta-da! Turtles with turtles, giraffes with giraffes. Do the same thing.
For this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
How we doing?
Good.
Talk to me,
I don't know
Goose.
how to do go.
Okay. See how it got parentheses?
Mm-hmm.
So who's getting the 2?
That one. The 4.
Parentheses. Just like distribution, they're all getting it.
Mm-hmm. So
You
the H and
get
the
it. You get it. Both of
Okay.
them. So
So it's
he
4,
just
3.
gets... Okay, and now you also have to use that other property of what do you do when I have h to the third to the second?
H. So 3 plus 2.
Okay, double check your stuff.
Oh, times.
There you go. That's why, just double check real quick. Okay, so now it's h to the 3 times 2. So what is 4 squared?
16.
3 times 2?
6.
Ta-da! There you go.
Okay.
Go, go. You got to remember what exponent or what number or letter is the exponent touching. So,
What do I do?
okay, and that's exactly what I mean. Over here, see how there is parentheses, so everyone gets 2? Over here, who's that 0 touching?
The B.
See how there's no parentheses? That's why there's blanks. The whole thing isn't 1 because the 12 is not getting the 0 exponent. So now, 12 is just 12, but what is anything to the 0?
1.
So this is 12 times 1,
Alright.
which is
12.
they're reinforcing the idea that it's only touching the B, b is all it gets. As opposed to there's parentheses, so the whole thing gets the 0.
That makes sense.
Okay? Almost there. I know. And we still have time, so we're going to keep going. Do you remember, if I take an exponent times an exponent of the same base, what do I do with that 3 and the 6? I heard it. Someone said it. 3 plus 6 is 8 to the 9th. Right below that, this is that whole turtle giraffe thing. I'm going to put 3 with 4 because they're both coefficients. They go together, turtle with turtle. X squared with x to the 3rd, giraffe with giraffe. So now, take them in stages. What is 3 times 4? What do I do with x to the 2nd times x to the 3rd? I add those two exponents together, getting x to the 5th. Okay? Down here, what is that 3 touching? Only the h. What is the 2 touching? Because it's on the parentheses, they're both going to get that exponent. So you get a car and you get a car. That gets a 2. And what do I do with h to the 3rd to the 2nd? I multiply those two together. So I'll have, what is 4 squared? Don't say 8. 16. H to the 6th. Okay? I think y'all like the other ones a little bit better. Who wrote 1 for number 9 and got it wrong? What is the 0 touching? So this is 12 times b to the 0. Sneaky, sneaky. That's 12 times 1. You ain't doing the assignment. Well, I was going to, but everyone decided that they were done already, so I guess you're going to do that one on your own. We will get to the last example and in-class work time when you come back on Friday. No homework.